Hello, and welcome to your Astro forecast for the week of May 18th through the 24th. If you're new here, I'm Michelle Shea Walker. This is a video forecast, but if you want to just listen to it audibly, that's totally fine. And if you're actually listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you're just getting the audio version of this. So if you want the video, head over to the Substack app and check it out there. And I'm here to offer you your glass half full perspective on the week ahead. If you are a paid subscriber, you want to stick around until the end because you might have won the personal reading drawing this week. And then I'm gonna layer in a little extra incentive for those of you that aren't already a paid subscriber to stick around until the end as well, because I'll be giving a little special extra reading for non-paid subscribers. If, however, you want to become a paid subscriber and support the endeavors that happen on this channel, you can do so and also get a download of your free rising sign house guide plus a planetary translation list so that you can kind of look at what planet is in what sign and how that's going to affect you personally. And that also is automatically given to you if you just become a subscriber for the first time as well. So all of those things are available. You'll know where to find them below in the Substack post if you're watching this on Substack. And we are going to dive in to the astrology and the tarot cards for this week. So if you've been here all month, you know, I've been kind of laying a little groundwork saying that the astrology starts slow and then gets a little more traffic jammy. We are to the traffic jam part of the month this month. So we have a lot more astrology. I, as always, am going to kind of feel into my intuition. If I feel like not mentioning something more minor that's happening in the planets, it's because there's something else that we should be focusing on more. So know that I do cover as much as I can in these podcasts, but in the name of not wanting to overwhelm you, if you're taking careful track of all of the little sextiles and trines and all of the things happening in the planets, I don't always mention every single thing that's occurring, but if it feels relevant, it comes out. So starting off with Monday, May 18th, we have two headliner astrologies, the boldface astrologies that I always mention. First one, Mars is moving into Taurus, so when a planet is changing signs, I will always make note of that. In this case, it's our planet of passion moving into a slightly chiller Taurus energy, but we can become really passionate about our stability, our home, our financial security, and our ability to have leisure time. So I have been doing a lot of Reiki sessions and readings lately, which I'm super grateful for. If you want to know more about that, there's always a header link to book a reading with me. But a lot of the messages that are coming forward for people this month are about finding more space for those leisure activities, finding the time, and also playing around with different forms of leisure activities that either you haven't ever tried before or you've kind of forgotten about from childhood or earlier on in your years that you used to enjoy and you kind of just lost track of those things. So Mars into Taurus is going to get us passionate about protecting our safe space, both in our physical environment and in our mental health environment, where we do the things that we love and we give ourselves time to rest. So if you need a nap, you're going to nap hardcore. If you need to spend time being at home with friends with good food and good conversation, you're going to go full out. We want to make sure that we're really fully, passionately embracing the things that restore our soul and the things that ultimately create a foundation. So that's kind of a lot of what Taurus energy is about, is creating a stable foundation for the rest of your life existence. They're known to be very relevant to our financial security, to our home security, and also to our feelings of wanting to be replenished and restored and really embellish and enjoy life. Because if we want to function in the less enjoyable portions of life, we have to have built up a foundation for ourselves where we've restored ourselves and we've rested and we've remembered the reasons that we want to keep living in this life. And that is the stuff that we feel passionate about, the people we feel connected to, and the things that bring us pleasure. So please passionately pursue your pleasures while Mars is in Taurus. It starts on Monday, but it keeps going. So you don't have to do it all on Monday. But if you want to just have a really passionate leisure day on Monday, if your schedule allows for that, go for it. On the same day, we also have Venus moving into Cancer. So we have the planet of love and beauty and creativity moving into the ultra romantic, the hopeless romantic of the zodiac, Cancer. Cancer sun sign here. Guilty as charged. So with Venus in Cancer, we do really get to enjoy love, and love in all forms, because Cancer is the maternal energy of the zodiac. So it's a very caretaking energy. It is the hopeless romantic of the zodiac, but it's also like the mother of the friend group and the connected to nostalgia and family. And it's really just about love for love's sake. And Venus is all about love for love's sake. So we want to fill up our cup with love. Now, kind of similarly to our Mars and Taurus message, we want to make sure that we're filling up our cup first. So self-love is also a part of this. So a lot of times Cancer energy can get so wrapped up in being the maternal energy for everyone around them that they deplete themselves. So you want to make sure that you're being a mother to yourself first, regardless of your gender, and really taking care of your own needs so that you can show up with a full cup for everyone else around you. There also could be a little element of love and relationships, or your connections to all kinds of relationships, inspiring some creativity while Venus is in Cancer. So if you want to write some poetry about your friends, about your family, about your lover, about the lover that you're pining for, it's a good day for that. It's a good energy for that, because again, it'll be in this sign for a while longer. But it starts on Monday. Now, both of those transitions, Mars into Taurus and Venus into Cancer, happen in the evening hours. So Mars into Taurus is 5:26 p.m. Central Standard Time. Venus into Cancer is 8:05 p.m. Central Standard Time. We also, just like less than an hour later, after Venus moves into Cancer, we have the moon moving into Cancer. So if you are a natal Cancer moon, if that's what's in your birth chart, God bless you. You already feel your feelings deeply year round, month round. But when the moon is in Cancer, you have free license to have your emotions feel even more heightened. In the case of this particular sign, if you have a Cancer moon, your emotions are already really heightened. So it's really about just downplaying, taking care of yourself. I don't mean this as a judgment whatsoever, but because moon and Cancer moons do feel things so deeply, in my experience, they are the ones that like to gravitate towards more serotonin help, some sources of medication that are going to help to even out the emotions. So if you know that that is you, make sure you're taking your meds, make sure you're taking care of yourself, make sure you're creating the safe space that you need to feel your feelings. And know that it's only in the sign for a couple days a month, but if you're feeling a little extra emotional on an already emotional level, forgive yourself for that. Be gentle with yourself, Cancer moons. That's the best thing I have for say to you, because God bless you. You're feeling your feelings so deeply all the time that it can get a little even more overwhelming when the moon actually is in your sign. For the rest of us, if you are not used to feeling your feelings, when the moon is in Cancer, you will feel them. They will come to the surface. So again, take care of yourselves. Journals are great. Hot baths are great. The Cancer is a water sign, so water is a really restorative element for calming and soothing those emotions. Staying hydrated, like, it sounds so simple that it's a cliche, but like when you're feeling overwhelmed, give yourself a moment. Drink a glass of water. Let that soothe you and calm you and kind of dampen those feelings in a way that feels more sustainable. Or get your butt in a hot bath, because as Sylvia Plath says, there are a few things in this world that are not cured by a hot bath. That is paraphrasing. That is not the correct quote, but you get what I mean. That's all I'm going to say for Monday, because that's enough. The card of, actually, that's not all I'm going to say, because I'm going to talk about the card. The card of the day for Monday is the Chariot card. So I do love this, especially for a movement of Mars energy and our passion and our drive, because the Chariot card is about putting ourselves in the driver's seat and really taking control of following our path, following our passions, doing whatever it is that we need to do for our own well-being and our own mission. And not even mission, because mission sounds like it's about the rest of the world. Do what you need to do to follow your dreams and feel fulfilled in this lifetime. That's the Chariot energy. So granted, Mars and Taurus is not as driven as some other, like if with Mars and Aries, we're really like diving into things. Mars and Taurus is more about building the foundation for those dreams. So how can you make sure that you're, getting the financial resources that you need to follow those dreams? How can you make sure that you're creating a sleep schedule and eating habits and strengthening exercises that are going to make your body feel good to follow those dreams? There's a whole like stacking of the bricks type energy to this driving towards our passions. So if you think that it just means like hopping on the bike and revving the engine and like getting off and going, not always. Sometimes you gotta do some maintenance on the bike. Sometimes you gotta put some gas in the tank. And that's all about taking the steps towards driving off towards your goals. So don't let those little like sort of menial, is that the word I'm looking for? The more mundane tasks to set you up for success, give them just as much passion and just as much credit as the actual diving in and taking direct action towards your goals, because they're all important. And especially taking care of your body. That's a big message for this transition into Mars and Taurus and for the Chariot card. Do you feel in a place in your body wellness-wise that you feel like you can drive forward towards your goals? And if you don't, seek outside resources, outside help for that. I myself have a body talk coaching practice where I help you align your energy both physically and energetically to set goals and then follow them and achieve them. So if that's something you're interested in, I will drop a little link prompt below, and we're going to dive into Tuesday. More minor astrology on Tuesday. So we got the 2 headliners on Monday, plus the whole moon in Cancer, feeling extra feels. Tuesday, we have Venus sextile Mars. So those 2 planets that just moved into different signs are now coming together to kind of give each other a little support and boost one another's energy towards a certain goal. We also have Mercury square the North Node. So less supportive energy when it comes to communicating in regards to our true north, our path towards whatever the goal is in the end game of this lifetime. So not so much about like getting up on a stage and announcing your mission, your stance, what is the word that I'm looking for when politicians have platform, announcing your platform? Is that what I'm looking for? Whatever. Announcing there's a word for it and I can't get to it. Whatever your mission statement is. It's not so much about that on Tuesday. With Venus sextile Mars, though, it is about continuing those energies of Monday, because now our creativity and love and aesthetic and beauty are lining up with our passion. So depending on what your passions are right now, what you're currently following, that could be many things. If your passion right now is looking for a romantic relationship, your beauty and your aesthetic and your loving energy is in a supportive alignment with following that passion and creating a structured relationship. So maybe go out and be seen. If you're not in a relationship and you're looking, it's a good day to be seen. If you are following passions in regards to creativity, again, Venus is about creativity. So get to creating. Like, I think Monday's maybe about feeling the energy shift, and then Tuesday is the opportunity to take that energy and do something with it. The card of the day is actually something that I think we had last week, which is the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords is about knowing when the fight is worth it and knowing when to walk away. So as you're following these passions and doing things that you love or following your creativity, there will be people that understand it, and there will be people that don't. And as Dita Von Teese says, you can be the ripest, juiciest peach in all of the land, and there's still going to be somebody that hates peaches. So we're not trying to force someone to like peaches that doesn't like peaches on Tuesday. We are simply putting our passion towards the energies that are going to support it, whether it be keeping it to ourselves for a while or sharing it with audiences that are going to get excited about it. And we're not trying to convince people that aren't on board with it to get on board with it, because we don't all have to like all the same things. You don't know if everybody in the world was attracted to the singular type of person, that person would be taken and we'd all be at a loss. If everyone in the world had the same taste in art or music or movies, we would only have one type of movie, one artist, one musician that we would all be listening to. And then there would be it'd be pointless for anyone else to try. That's not the world we live in, and that's a good thing. But that also means that if you are a creator, or if you're putting yourself out there romantically, both go for the same storyline, you do not need to convince people that don't like you to like you, or don't like your work to like your work. They are not your audience. They are not your date. That is not where your energy is going to be best used. So fight for the things that matter to get in front of the people that you need to get in front of and to share your passions with them. And anyone that doesn't get it, just let them go about their life. You don't need to convince them of anything. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, we have the sun moving into Gemini. So we're transitioning from Taurus sun into Gemini sun. Now that isn't happening until 7:37 p.m. Central Standard Time, but you might feel it a little earlier. It might be kind of you'll feel the tingles of it coming in early on in the day. And Gemini is an air sign. Gemini is the sign known for communication and more local community and intellectual stimulation. It's the sapiosexuals of the zodiac energy, if you will. I'm not saying that all Geminis are sapiosexuals, but I'm saying that that's the vibe that we're thinking when Gemini energy is at play. So mental stimulation, interactions through communication and open dialogue, and also your local community are big themes for the sun in Gemini. So I always think it's so fitting for those of us in the northern hemisphere that the sun in Gemini happens during that first burst of summer, especially here in Chicago, where we feel like we have winter for forever, and all of a sudden the sun comes out and everybody needs to go and sit on a patio and be on the street and interact with other human beings. That's Gemini energy. It's your neighborhood. It's the people that you see on your daily commute. It's the people you see in your office. It's the people you see in your neighborhood, in your building, at the local shops. That's the energy that we're connecting with. So it is a good energy if you want to get involved with the local community through volunteering or getting a part-time job somewhere local. And it's also just energy of getting out and connecting to others. That's the big highlight on Wednesday. The other thing that's happening is the moon is moving into Leo. So for those of you that had the Cancer moons and you're like, oh, I'm feeling really intense with my emotions, we get to transition into another sign. That's happening in the evening hours, 9:48 p.m. Central Standard Time, and the moon in Leo is a little dramatic with the emotions, both good and bad. I'm not saying that dramatic is not necessarily a bad thing in my book. I was a theater major. I like little drama. It's about going big or going home with your emotions. And also not being afraid to show the world and share your feelings with the moon in Leo. So if you're natal moon in Leo, you have my permission to do that even more than you normally would. And if you're not as familiar with Leo energy, moon in Leo is an opportunity to compliment others, to ask for compliments for yourself, to tell people that you love them, to tell people that you admire them, to send that random message to a friend or someone that you follow online and say, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. And thank you for putting those vibes out there because they're feeding on my vibes. I'm feeding off of your vibes. We're making the world a better place by sharing these vibes. That was a lot of vibes. Sorry about that. The card of Wednesday is the Six of Swords reversed. So I immediately kind of took pause when this card came out in the reverse position because I got an interesting message from it. Six of Swords upright is moving away from a challenging time towards something better, but still kind of feeling like you need to kind of restore yourself because you just got through like a bit of a feat behind you. Reversed, I got this little whisper that was saying that in some way, shape, or form, whether it be like a physical interaction or situation comes back up, or just a thought comes back up, a lesson comes back up in your mind, something that was challenging in the past that we moved away from, kind of like that feeling of, oh, thank God that's over, is coming back around in some form on Wednesday. And we might want to be open to what it has to present to us. So this could be very literal. It could be that you walked away from, let's say, a relationship. You can also apply it to a situation or, what have you. But let's say you walked away from a relationship in your past that just felt like, oh, thank God that ended. Thank God that's over. And I feel a little worse for the wear because of it, but I'm moving towards something better. And then maybe literally that person comes back around presenting an offer to you. Whether it be another try to relationship, let's be friends, whatever it is. And the universe is just saying with this card, don't immediately reject it based on the past. So whatever's coming forward, and in some cases, this could be not like a literal, like case-by-case basis. It could be that you moved away from something challenging in the past and something very similar looking to it shows up in front of you. And the universe is like, wait, don't bring all that baggage with you. Let this person or this situation be what it is now, rather than assuming that it's going to be like something that happened in your past. So that could be the same person coming back having changed, or it could be a new person coming to you that reminds you of someone in your past, and the universe is like, whoa, don't put that baggage on that person. They didn't do all that stuff. Like, give them a fresh start, give them a new chance, look at them with fresh eyes. Because with this card in particular, I do feel like there's something that's going to be presented to us that we might have a little resistance to at first that ends up being better than we expect it to be based on past knowledge. That is Wednesday. And maybe all of Gemini season. That might be able to layer over into the entire time the sun is in Gemini. Thursday, we get a little breather. Quiet astrology. We also get a little breather with the card because it's the Hanged Man, or the Hanged One in this card. This is an opportunity to pause. So if you're really gung-ho about something and you're wanting to dive into a project or a relationship or a situation, this can feel a little frustrating, but it's actually a blessing. So I want you to take a moment on Thursday, and anything that feels stalled or moving slower than you would like, look at it as an opportunity, a gift from the universe of time to check in with your perspective on what you want to happen, on where you're headed, on how you see the situation, because there's just a little shift in perspective that wants to happen before things can move forward in the best alignment. This could be that your expectations are out of whack of what's going to happen from the situation. This could be that you just need to take a moment to pause and enjoy the quiet time because things are going to start moving forward really quickly and you're not going to have as much of that. It could be that you're thinking that something negative is going to happen and the universe is like, well, let's flip that mindset around, because whatever you think you attract. And if you're thinking that something negative is going to happen, you're going to call that into your existence. So find the positive perspective. And I know I'm very known and very open about being an optimist. I don't believe that finding the positive perspective means ignoring all bad things. I had a client ask me because I'm so positive, if I avoid giving them bad news. And it's like, no, I will give you the bad news, but I will give you the bad news with the perspective shift that you need to make it less bad news. So that's what this is. It's not that you're not going to necessarily encounter anything negative at all, ever. You can have a positive perspective on the future and still be ready for shit to go down. So that's a little bit of this card as well. Friday, we have a Cazimi. So if you've been around, you know that a Cazimi is when the sun lines up directly with another planet. And what that does is the sun's energy not only boosts the energy of that planet, but it also kind of cleanses and clarifies that energy. So especially when the planet in question is in direct motion and it's not in like a retrograde where things are a little funky, it's a really good energy because it's like taking the energy that planet would normally be giving you, boosting it up to like level 11, and then also giving it a little like of a brush off, a cleanse, a clearing of the energy so that some of any of the more negative stuff is cleared away. In this case, it's Uranus that's in our Cazimi that's lining up directly with the sun. So there are a couple other things happening that day. I'm going to ignore them and we're just going to focus on Uranus Cazimi because not only is this big for the planet in general on the day, but we just moved into a new sign with Uranus, if you remember. So at the end of last month was when Uranus moved into Gemini. We are in a whole new path. This is also when Uranus is officially in Gemini. It's not moving back into the past planet ever again, or it's not going retrograde this cycle. We are taking the energy of whatever Uranus and Gemini means. And if you want to know what that means for you personally, that free download that happens when you either change to the paid tier or subscribe for the first time, you automatically get this email of the handout that I have for you where I break down what every sign means for your particular rising sign and also what every planet's energy means. So what you'll find when you open that document is that Uranus is about change and transformation and big shifts. Gemini, in general, for all of us, is all the things that I said when I mentioned the sun moving into Gemini. It's community, it's communication, and it's intellectual stimulation. But for you personally, your rising sign dictates what area of your life this big change and transformation is happening while Uranus is in Gemini. Now that's happening for like years, like for like 7 years we're in that. But with this Uranus Cazimi, the sun is amplifying an opportunity for us to boost that energy forward. So think of this when you're playing Mario Kart and you go over those like arrows that make you go super fast. That's what a Cazimi is like for the energy. We're taking a path that we were already on and we're just like supercharging it. So while the sun is lined up with Uranus, we get an opportunity to go a little faster towards the Uranus and Gemini goals for ourselves. If you know your rising sign, I highly recommend that download because again, I do house by house and I will show you what Gemini lines up with and what house it is and what that house rules. And then you can kind of play like a little Mad Lib game with this handout. You can be like, for instance, for me, I'll give you a freebie if you're an Aquarius rising. Uranus in Gemini is about my 5th house of pleasure. So it's sexual pleasure, it's play, it's childlike pleasure, like inner child work, it's having fun. Thank goodness, because I'm ready for a little boost in that area of my astrology. That's gonna get a boost on Friday. So like if I'm using the energy to the best of my advantage, I should probably go out and do something that I deem fun on Friday and really open up to the opportunity of connecting to that energy. And I know that because it's like, oh, Uranus equals change. Gemini in my 5th house equals pleasure. I need to make big change in the areas that I associate with pleasure in my life and creating more room and opportunity for pleasure in my life. That's how you use that handout to your advantage. So if you're a recent subscriber or if you recently leveled up to a paid tier, you did get that download. So hopefully you found that. And again, I will always offer anyone that's already a free level subscriber, if you're not ready to upgrade to the paid and all the benefits that allows you, message me privately and I will send you a link to the download, because you are a subscriber already and I do still appreciate even the free level subscription. And I didn't have it when, if you've been around for a while, I didn't have this download for whenever you subscribed. That's Friday's astrology. The card is the King of Pentacles. So we have the opportunity to really rule over this energy in our lives on Friday. The King is well aware of everything that's happening around him, well aware of his own energy, their energy. This isn't even a male king in this deck, but it's, for lack of a better distinction, we're just going to use king equals he. They're aware of their energy and what their power is, to the level that they don't even have to be showy about it. It's an easy king. It's not like some of the rulers and leaders that we have these days that feel like they need to display their power in very unhealthy ways. This king is settled. He knows his power. Even if not everyone in the world recognizes it yet, just wait and see. And with it being Pentacles, it's about the elements of Taurus, so it really lines up well with our Mars energy. It's about the security, the stability, the financial stability, the physical stability, the safety. It's about growing things in a sustainable way, whether that be physically in a garden or in your energetic life. It's doing things methodically, but very intentionally. So we have this combination of Uranus wanting to create big change, the Cazimi turbocharging that big change, and then also the awareness that we're in a place of stability, or hopefully, according to this card, we've created some sort of stability for ourselves that we don't have to feel frantic about building this change. And we know how powerful it is to be able to create the foundation and make sure that it's strong and stable and secure as we're building towards this change. So it may feel a little like a contrast, but it actually works really well with both of these energies that play together. There's a bull at the top of this. So again, Mars and Taurus energy as well. Even though we're talking about the Uranus Cazimi, that Mars and Taurus energy is going to be really helpful as well on this day, following that passion. Again, there's other things happening in the astrology, but I don't want us to get off track and distracted from the Uranus Cazimi, because that's really important, especially with that just moving into this new sign. Saturday, the moon moves into Virgo. So if you're a Virgo natal moon, free license to feel your feelings more. For the rest of us, Virgo is very organized, and that can apply to the emotional life as well. And analytical. Virgo is not afraid of dissecting the emotions and breaking them down and putting them into categories, and sometimes that works really well for therapy. So if you're in talk therapy or you feel the need for talk therapy, Virgo moon's yes, let's do this. Let's analyze these emotions to the nth degree. It's also a very grounded energy though. So whereas analytical usually means air energy, we're taking it, we're planting it, we're grounding it, we're doing something. Well, word just flew out of my head. We're doing something stable? No, that's not the word I was going to go for. I don't know what's happening with words, guys, but bear with me. And we're going to go into the card because that's the only astrology for that day. We have the Eight of Pentacles reversed, which is also a very methodical energy. So upright, this is a card of developing a skill and becoming a master of your craft, whatever that looks like for you. In this case, it's a person sitting at a drawing table, drawing the same design over and over and over again until it's perfect, getting better and better at it each and every time. That can be applied to any area of your life that you're currently trying to feel more in your element with. So it could be on career level, that you're, going to, practice things, learn things, perfect things, like becoming an apprentice in your craft. It could be within relationships, that you feel like you're repeating the same cycles over and over again, but in theory, you're learning to quote unquote draw those relationships a little bit better each and every time. It could just be in your day-to-day habits, that you're repeating something on a daily basis to create a new habit for yourself. That whole thing of it takes 21 days to develop a new habit could be something that you're applying to your life right now, where you want to wake up at a certain time, or get used to exercising every day, or getting used to eating healthy, or quitting smoking, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. Just keep showing up. Keep showing up on a daily basis, keep plugging along, and trust that you will get better and better each and every time. Think of this like playing scales on the piano. It may not be the most interesting thing in the world, but it does get your dexterity going better, and it does improve your overall craft over time, even if it's not the most exciting part of what you're trying to ultimately do with this skill set. But that was in the reverse position. So we're trying to turn it on the head. So I feel like we've been trying for a while to create a habit, and we've been avoiding it. I'm talking to myself too. And Saturday is giving us opportunity to flip that over and to really give ourselves another fresh start and consider it day one of your 21-day cycle of getting better at this thing. Sunday, we have a couple minor astrologies. I got distracted because I have like a little like marker on that day from a tarot card reading I gave myself a while ago, and I don't know what it means. I have little stickers in my planner, and like when I give myself a significant tarot card reading for a certain area of my life, and it's for a certain like occasionally I'll do a what's the timeline for this, and I do this in my tarot sessions with clients as well. If they want to know a timeline, I can pull a card and translate a timeline. And so I like to give myself a sticker on the end of the timeline whenever I give myself a reading, but I don't always make note of what that sticker was about. So according to a past tarot reading, something's happening for me on Sunday, the 24th. But for the rest of us, the astrology is Mars sextile the North Node and the Sun sextile Neptune. So we have two sextiles. Again, those are supportive energies. I think of them as the two planets coming together, having a little cup of tea and being like, how can we further this person's life in a pleasant way? Mars is our planet of passion. North Node is our true north, the direction that we're headed. So whereas earlier in the week, we had Mercury square the North Node, wasn't the best time to talk about our goals, Mars sextile the North Node means that it's a good time to take action towards those goals. Sun sextile Neptune is our self. Like the sun represents the way that we see ourselves, our self-image. And then Neptune is the dreamy planet, like our subconscious and our daydreams and our sort of connection to the other side. So that implies to me that your dreams are trying to become your reality. So whatever it is that you dream that doesn't feel resonant to how you're showing up in the world, it's a good day to shift that around. So it's kind of that, like, it's like a bigger version of that quote, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And I don't mean that just like physically, aesthetically. It's, are you showing up in the world in a way that if you timeline jumped tomorrow and you had everything that you've ever dreamed of, you had the job that you dreamed of, you had the family life you dreamed of, you had the home that you dreamed of, you lived in the place that you want, all of the things that you wanted, would you now, right now, in this day, be functioning in a way that would support that life? Like, are you waking up at the time that you would want to wake up? Are you doing responsible things with your money that you would want to be doing with your money there? Are you connecting to the type of energies in your social life that you would want to connect to? Are you getting the tasks done in a day that you would need to get done on that day in your dream life? Because you don't have to wait for that dream life. You can start those little things now to support the energy. That if, again, the best way they can put it is if someone like 13 going on 30, big, all of those like fantasy movies where they wake up in a new life and a new version of themselves. 13 going on 30 is a better example of that because he wakes up in his old life and then becomes a new version. She wakes up in the future. would everything that you do as a habit now, so this kind of goes back to our Saturday card as well, are the habitual daily actions that you're taking now today fit into that dream life and help support the functioning of that dream life? And if not, now is your opportunity to start creating those habits and those daily actions. The card of the day is the Ace of Pentacles in the reverse position. So just like our Eight of Pentacles coming through in the reverse position, we're trying to kind of tweak some stuff to really get the full benefit of this card. Upright, it's a brilliant opportunity for more security, more stability. It's sometimes a job opportunity. It's an offer of money. It's a brilliant business idea. It's a partnership. It's like a business partnership offer, or it could be a romantic partner. It could be literally a offer of, committed partnership, because this is all about stability. It's about the universe handing you something that's going to create more stability, both either financially, emotionally, or physically in your life. Because it's upside down, we may not be paying attention to it. So I think part of that comes from not really feeling like we're ready for the dream life, for the stability that we want, because of the actions that we take in our day-to-day life. So act as if. Start dressing for the job that you want, not the job that you have. And if you want to start it earlier in the week, all the better, because you might find that by the time you come to Sunday, you've already flipped this card up right and you're ready to accept that offer. You're ready to notice that it's there. You're not ignoring it and plugging your ears and saying la la la, because you now feel like you are becoming capable enough to accept this offer that's coming to you. There's no imposter syndrome with this. We want to make sure that we get to that place by the time this offer comes around, or at least shortly after this offer comes around, so that we don't miss out on it. That's Sunday. So I promised you free subscribers sticking around. You'll get something from this, or you potentially could get something from this. Before we get to the paid subscriber drawing, which if you don't know is something that I do every single week, where I draw a name from my list of paid subscribers, and that person that I draw out at random gets a 3 to 4 card reading. Everyone else, I'm going to start occasionally trickling in this extra little incentive offer for you, because I do so appreciate you, even if you're not a paid subscriber. I just recently found out that Substack has data on those of you that are sharing these posts with your friends. And I don't know if they're showing me just how often you share them, or if they're showing me how often the people you share them with actually come and look at the post. From the way it's worded, it sounds like it's like showing me who you're not only giving them to people, but those people are actually coming and looking at what you gave them. I'm going to start offering at completely random, so not on a weekly basis, but like relatively regularly. I'm going to try to do it at least once a month. Again, at a random time, so you won't necessarily know when to do the extra and when to not do the extra. Whoever has either had the most people that they shared this with view the previous week's post, or whoever has driven friends who then became subscribers to the blog from their post. And I think what I'm going to do is like the post views count as one each. And then if someone that viewed the post became a free subscriber, you get 3 more points. And if that person became a paid subscriber, you get 5 more points. That's the system I'm establishing right now, like on the fly. I'm going to do a tally each week. And whoever has the most points from that, definitely the thing you can do without having to badger your friends is just share the post. If they want to naturally subscribe, that's up to them. Like, please don't try to like campaign for your friends to subscribe to something that they don't want, but share it with people that you think might be interested in this content. And if they happen to view the content, you get a point for everyone that views it. And if they happen to subscribe, you get those extra points as well. And then I'm going to, at whatever random week that I decide to do this extra reading, I'm going to tally up those numbers, and I'm going to give the top earner free single card reading. So it's not quite the paid subscriber perk, but it's something. And I want to reward you, those of you that are sharing this content with your friends, because honestly, that word of mouth is so valuable for content creators, for small business owners. I don't like promoting myself and feeling sales pitchy. So if you like what I do and you can do that for me, that is the biggest gift that you can give me. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a little thank you to everyone that appeared on this past week's earners docket. So this is anyone who drove any views to last week's blog or to any blog. It was just what you shared last week. Thank you so much to Rhiannon and Tracy. You didn't get the top tier, but I do appreciate you sharing these posts. And then our winner with 10 views driven in the past week is Kathleen. So Kathleen, thank you for sharing this post and allowing your friends to view this content. And we're actually going to do a card pull from the original Total Betty Goddess deck, which there are still a few copies of this deck waiting. By the way, if you're still watching it and you're not Kathleen and you're not a paid subscriber, feel free to stick around, because if you feel called to, either Kathleen's reading or the paid subscriber reading might resonate for you as just a general collective reading. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But this card is specifically for Kathleen, and we're going to see what Total Betty Goddess has some advice for you. Okay. We have the lovely lady, played by Carrie Russell as Felicity, because this is a 90s icon deck. And she is to simplify the message of this King Arthur story that she comes from, she is a message that divine feminine energy wants to make their own choices rather than have those choices made for them. So what she's offering you, Kathleen, is the opportunity to stop looking to outside sources for opinions, for advice. And I think for this week specifically, there's something that's going to come forward that you're supposed to trust your instincts and your intuition. And this includes, like, I mean, again, take what resonates within your life and leave what doesn't. It doesn't have to be across the board that this is an answer. But this could mean that there's like something you would normally defer to a partner or to an expert, and it's kind of out of habit. And so I'm getting the feeling that there's going to be some things coming up this week that are going to challenge you to not to defer the decision to someone else and to trust your intuition, because I think your intuition is more well-developed than you're giving yourself credit for. And you're going to feel like a surge of empowerment from not feeling like you need to consult other people's opinions for a decision that you're going to make. And it could be big or it could be really small. It could just be they're at the market going to buy something and you would normally like text someone to see if like they want it or if it's a good idea. And I want you to stop yourself and just ask, do I think this is a good idea? And again, like take it in a way that feels good to you. Obviously, I'm not advising you to like go buy a house without consulting your partner, but like there's something that's going to be offered to you this week that's an opportunity to trust your instincts and hold yourself back from the habitual response of needing to check in with someone. Or maybe the universe will even invite it to you, like offer it to you in a way that you can't check in with someone and you feel a little like uneasy about that, but it's ultimately going to give you more confidence by making the decision on your own. That is your reading. So thank you for sharing that. Feel free to continue to share these posts. Again, I'm not going to do this on a regular basis because I don't want it to be something where it's predictable as to when it is that you need to share these posts. Like I want you to share them when it resonates to do so. And whoever happens to be the highest tiered earner when I decide to do this about once a month will get this free single card reading. So with that in mind, we're going to move into the paid subscriber drawing. So I always like to thank all the paid subscribers first. So thank you for Jane, Amanda, Caitlin, Holly, Tracy, Sonia, and Paula for all being paid subscribers. I so appreciate your energy being here. And, ooh, I forgot to pull who won last week. Do I remember who won last week? We had two, but Jane was kind of like a side winner. So who was my main winner last week? Can I tell by who's at the top of the thing? I hope not, because that would mean that shuffling things doesn't do much or shaking things up doesn't do much. You know what? We're going to give a freebie to whoever won last week because I can't remember. And we're just going to trust that if they come out again, the universe wanted it that way. So let's see who wins. That one took a little bit of a shuffle. So, Tracy, not only were you on the leaderboard for sharing with friends, you also got to win the reading. So I love that. You may not have gotten the first one, but you got this one. Let's dive into some Modern Witch Tarot cards. And Tracy, I'm going to pull a past, present, future card reading for you. And we'll see what wants to come. Whoa, we got a past card dropping out already. Future card dropping out already. Or present card dropping out already. And future. Ooh, okay. Right off the bat, I'm going to preface this by saying things are feeling a little challenging, but they're going to get real good. So if that resonates for you, buckle up. In the recent past, we have the Nine of Swords. Thankfully, it's in the reverse position because upright, this is a card of stress and worry and keeping yourself up at night, just spinning the thoughts, worrying about things that haven't happened, unnecessarily stressing out your adrenals. Because it's reversed, this is a previous habit that you're really doing a good job at working on. You may still feel like you're doing this on occasion, but I want you to give yourself credit for how far you've come to not do that as much. Because it does feel like that's been a big shift. And I almost feel like it might have been part of the shift of Uranus's movement. So I'm very curious what house Uranus and Taurus was affecting for you. And I don't off the top of my head know your rising sign, but I'm very curious what house that was affecting for you because I think that something in that chapter of your life really helped to shift this energy. So you're not being as anxious with your thoughts as much. Or if you are as anxious with your thoughts, you're not letting those anxious thoughts get away with you. You've learned some tools to kind of bring things down, to settle things a little bit, to calm your mind, to quiet your mind. Maybe you're journaling out your thoughts. Maybe you're learning meditation. Maybe you just have some tools. Maybe you have talk therapy. Whatever it is, you've learned some lessons in this area, and that is really good. So congratulations on that. I think that's going to serve you well with this present card energy because the present card is coming in with the Three of Swords. So the Three of Swords, not gonna lie, it is a heavier energy. It's heavier on the heart. It can sometimes mean that there's a recent breakup or heartbreak that's happened. It can be grief. It can be the passing of a loved one or a pet or something dear to you. Essentially, it's something dear to you has been lost, whether it be an actual relationship or person or entity, or the feeling or the dream of something has been crushed. Essentially, what the Three of Swords in general is whatever we wanted to happen in the future isn't going to play out the way that we thought it was. So traditionally, it usually does point towards like a romantic relationship, like a romantic betrayal, where you had all these dreams and these hopes for this particular connection, and you had all this vision of what you wanted it to look like, and that person wasn't playing by that same playbook, and they did something that made all of those dreams no longer valid. Whatever that is, whether it be a breakup, a passing of a loved one, an ending of a situation, it could even be like the ending of a job suddenly. It's something that felt a little out of your control, ending a situation that you had big dreams for. And that does feel really harsh and sharp in the moment. The best advice that I have for you, first off, is please take care of yourself during these harder times. Give yourself the time to feel the feelings, to heal, to soothe yourself, to move forward. But the beautiful thing about this card is that usually when it shows up, we're coming to the other side of the hill. like we've been in the thick of the emotions and we're coming back up to be able to see things from a higher perspective. So still nurture yourself, but it's almost time to be able to cut cords and release. And if a cord cutting practice resonates for you, if you still feel like this energy or some of the hurt energy is still lingering, I encourage you to find some sort of visualization that's going to help you to imagine cutting those cords. You can imagine the cords connected to your heart and you're cutting them with a sword or scissors. I like to do a really graphic visualization when I do cord cutting, and that I imagine that it's like a Batman grappling hook into a portion of my body. This will probably be the heart because it feels like it's probably heart-based. And you can just imagine unhooking. I like to tie it off in a knot just to feel like I've kind of like severed, like kind of given a little hindrance to that connection, and then send it outside your aura and release it and picture it zooming back to the past, the situation, the energy, whatever it is. If it's someone's energy that's literally bringing you down, you're sending it back to them. If it's just a circumstance that caused heartbreak in the past, you're sending it back to the past. But let it be no longer connected to you, because it is about time to move forward, and you want to make sure that you cut all ties to this energy that has been keeping you stuck in these darker feelings. I'm going to give a second here, and I'm going to send your heart some Reiki. I want you to take a moment just to place your hands on your heart. Tracy, I don't remember if you've done my Become Your Own Healer self-healing course, but if you have, let the Reiki flow. And just give yourself a moment to breathe into that, to take a deep breath in, feel your hands rise up into your heart. And on the deep breath out, let go of some of the heaviness. Deep breath in. Let some burdens drop off your shoulders. Deep breath out. Soften your face, your brow. Feel free to keep your hand on your heart if it calls to you. Also, personal note, if you want a distance Reiki session, if that felt good, even though you've had sessions of some sort with me before, I want to do a blanket statement here for anyone who's heard me talk about the first time coupon code where you get half off your first reading with me. Technically, it's your first reading using that coupon code. So I know I have a lot of people that have been to me years and years in the past, and they've come to maybe like 10 sessions before. If you haven't ever used that coupon code will still work for you. So blanket statement for everyone, but I felt called for you, Tracy, to mention it. The coupon code 1STTIME works to give you half off of any of my readings, any of my healing sessions. So if that calls to you, feel free to take advantage of that. Technically, it's supposed to be like, try this out because you've never been to me before. But I'm like, I'm letting anyone that can use it. And then once you use it once, you can't use it again. With that out of the way, your future card is great. It's amazing. It shows that all the work you've done in the past is really serving you as you move through this more difficult time, because it's the Magician card. So Major Arcana card, the universe is directing you towards this fate of being able to come to a place where you recognize that you have all the tools that you need to create magic in your life and to get yourself into circumstances that feel more magical than maybe these connections in the past have felt. So the one thing that's kind of an asterisk to the Magician card is it can sometimes come along with a feeling of imposter syndrome. However, I feel like because we talked about you having these tools that you've developed in the past to keep your mind out of spinning in circles and having these like defeating thoughts, use those same tools as you move into this new chapter, and they're going to help you defeat that imposter syndrome in a way more skillful and quick way than most people would be able to. So apply the lessons you've learned then to this, and you're really coming into your own. You're going to come into a place and an opportunity, whether it be within a relationship, within a job, within a circumstance, where all of the tools that you've developed throughout your self-developmented life, whether it be in therapy, I know we've done coaching before, whether we do any of those things, all of the lessons that you've learned and all of the work that you've put in is all going to make sense. And it's kind of like, I always think of this card a little bit like if you've ever seen the movie Planet Terror, which is the Robert Rodriguez half of the dual feature that him and Quentin Tarantino did in like the early 2000s. There's Rose McGowan's character in that talks about how at some point in your life you find a use for every useless talent that you've ever had. And it comes back comically in that movie in that she's a pole dancer and then she has a gun strapped to her leg and pole dancing helps her to be able to use that gun on her leg. We're not talking about that movie, but I really enjoy the movie, even though it's kind of, nobody else has heard of it. If you want to watch it, feel free to watch it for a fun version of that lesson. But essentially, every skill that you've developed along the way that you thought was going to waste is going to come back into play and be useful in this chapter that's coming up very soon. I feel like this is your Uranus and Gemini chapter because I felt called to talk about the past as Uranus and Taurus. Whatever Uranus and Gemini is working with you, you have all the tools you need. You might initially feel a little bit of imposter syndrome, but all of the tools that you had to help conquer your thoughts in the past are going to help you conquer that imposter syndrome very quickly. And you're going to be stepping into your own and you're going to use those tools not only to your advantage, but to the advantage of whatever skill set you're developing within a job, within a relationship. It's all going to come into play and find a use for itself. And it's going to create really magical circumstances in your life. So I hope that reading resonates for you. I know it feels tough in this moment, but again, it feels like you're at the top of, like you're coming out of the hill, or you're coming out of the valley up to the top of the hill with the Three of Swords card, and things are about to get really good. Underneath the deck, 10 of Wands, it's time to release the burdens. Anything that's not your energy, you're letting it go. You're letting the spirit guides take care of the stuff that you can't take care of, and you're just focusing on your skill set, the things that you can do, the things that you've developed, and the things that you feel really in control and confident with, because that's the Magician card. That is the weekly reading. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you again next week for more magic.